back to audiobook world. I listened to Can Ploy, which is the audiobook novella that Ali Hazelwood released last week. It is very short, just 4 hours-ish, not even 5 hours, somewhere in the 4 hour mark. So if you're an audiobook person, this is no problem for y'all. Very fast. It is done in one single narrator, which I am finding I like. I either like one narrator for everything or duet style. I've become a little picky with that. This is just the medium. There's nothing against the actor. They're doing a great job of it. You can come at me if you want, but it's my personal preference. It has nothing to do with the author. It has nothing to do with the narrators. Just kind of how I enjoy things more, I'm noticing. So that might affect audiobooks you hear in the future because I don't want to be a whiny bitch about it. This is very reminiscent of her earlier STEM stuff. If you read Not in Love and you missed the bubbly, cutesy, love on the brain kind of dynamic, this will take you back there. It is classically Ali Hazelwood. There is a brooding, grumpy man and a very sweet woman, and they are in gaming. So not STEM, gaming. They work for rival companies. These companies have been chosen to co-work on a new game based on a book series, and these rival companies have such beef that they go on a retreat together to try and not bridge the gap, mend bridges between the two groups of humans. I love the name Viola, so I was very happy to hear it. It's Viola and Jesse. What happens is once they're thrust together in the forced proximity, all the secrets come out. They've known each other for years. There's been this weird blood from Viola's perspective. It's all from Viola's POV. And finally they hash it out, and it turns out, shocker, it was a complete misunderstanding on their meeting many years ago and how they both interpreted it, remembered it, and then changed their behavior accordingly over the years as they've been in this industry together. Once they actually have the conversation, they kind of get over it real fast. It was sweet. It was fun. The cast of characters outside of Viola and Jesse was adorable and fun to watch and kind of cute. I didn't love a moment. It felt really out of there for me. But at one point they said, oh, we're not going to have sex until we get back to our normal lives because we don't have condoms. And then they kind of went, fuck it. Take a lesson from Joe Segura in Raiders of the Lost Heart. If you want to use condoms, use condoms. There's no reason why you can't have a perfectly lovely, intimate encounter without penetration. That's fine. And so that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Again, I'm listening to audiobooks while I'm doing other things. I am not sitting fully invested, and that's just the way that I function. If I'm not physically doing the thing, reading a book, turning pages, holding a Kindle, pushing buttons, my mind will wander and my body will get jittery. Snapping my fingers, my body will get jittery. So often when I'm listening to audiobooks, I'm also doing some sort of repetitive thing. I think I was folding laundry, which, super sexy, but do what you got to do. For fans of Ali Hazelwood, this is a nice little jump back to more love on the brain style writing, storylines, etc. For me, not that I didn't enjoy it. It was nice, but I've been really enjoying the evolution that she's been making in her writing and the next steps that I'm seeing her take. And so it almost felt like a step backward rather than an homage to. But it was only 4 hours of my life, so went by real fast. It is so interesting to me when I have discovered an author in the middle of their writing and I go back to some of their earlier works. This is with a grain of salt because I enjoyed Love Redesigned. I did not love the fine print, not the writing. I didn't love the mailman character. I didn't find him deserving of the FMC. I'm back at Throttled. Throttled was lent to me by a friend, and I have not I put a lot of tabs but no notes because I'm a respectful friend. So jumping back to this work that Lauren Asher wrote years before Love Redesigned was really interesting to me, and I can see where she's grown as an author. There were moments when I just went, oh man, you're still new. And quite honestly, it was introducing Noah's point of view. It was a little disappointing and frustrating because I've seen her write more complex characters from the start. But I got over it because eventually Noah got there. And I don't even want to say it's because he got therapy, which good job for getting therapy. Good job for making your mailman character get therapy. He needed it. But it didn't feel dynamic. We got a really great first chapter where we were introduced to him and his dad and that dynamic. And then I remember the second chapter from his point of view. I just went, Where did the personality, where did the human that I got to meet in that first POV chapter go? This feels like you looked up, what does douchebag frat boy asshole say, and just put it on the page. Now, having said that, it gets better. So if you started this book and you didn't love that part, or you found it frustrating like me, it gets better. Maya from the beginning is incredibly dynamic, a really interesting character, and someone that I could relate to, in that she finished college and has no idea what to do. Her brother's an F1 driver and she just kind of follows him along. She wants to figure out what she's going to do next, and her brother has offered her this opportunity to see the world and travel and be with him, which for her loving her brother and having a close relationship that they do makes a lot of sense to me. Noah and Maya have sparks from the beginning, and it's a forbidden love teammates, sister, brother's teammate kind of situation. There's a lot of dancing around their attraction. Noah is determined to get her at some point. Not in a I want to bet kind of way, but in a I really like you and I'm not willing to pass up on what we have. You can see that his behavior changes subtly over time after he meets Maya, that the things that he used to do, hooking up with randos, doesn't happen anymore. He's not as interested in that. He makes an effort with her in a way that he hasn't before. One of the things that Lauren Asher does a great job of is these really quippy one-liners, and I had so many tabbed in this book, and it made it just a joy to read. I would laugh out loud at these random moments. Some of these were just so funny and out there that I couldn't help but release a giggle, a chortle, or even a guffaw. For the spice, it is spicy. It takes a while. I'll say that this is a slow burn too. You know, it's not direct to Pound Town right away. Noah has to earn her. Maya has to, eventually decide he's worth the risk. And honestly, once they get together, once that summer break happens, when Noah goes to therapy and Maya gets some separation from the situation and the terrible first date they have, they're a solid couple. And I believe in them. I think that this is a couple that really strives to support one another and sees the best in each other, and it made it a joy to watch them finally get together and be all that they could with one another, if that makes sense. I also borrowed Collided, book number 2, and I know all of these are on KU if you are looking. They might not be there for long because I think Bloom picked them up or is reprinting them or something different. So right now they're on KU, and I'll be able to finish book 3 and 4 once I'm done with book number 2, because I do want to finish the books that my friends give me to read. It's been a while. Ooh. My gosh, I'm already blushing. This story was like a fever dream thought up by my 13-year-old self when I was still in my obsessed with Greek mythology phase. It is Split or Swallow by Lindsay Straube. I heard about this book from Sierra Simone and Julie Murphy, and they said it was one of the spiciest things that they have ever read. Look, it's spice. It's just spice with some side plot that supports all the spice that happens. And that's not bad, but I don't know if it needed to be 750 pages long. I got through it. The premise of this is that there's a contest for the prince of the land to pick their bride by basically who fucks better. It doesn't even make sense. Every girl born the same year as the prince goes and gets trained in sensual arts by the basilisks. So the point of this is that girls are going to be trained how to seduce, and then they have to go seduce the prince. So there's just a lot of spice, but that's the plot. It makes sense. Temperance, she goes by Temperance, is our FMC, and the basilisk she is assigned to is Caspin, and the human prince is Leo. And there becomes a bit of a love triangle situation, as with all kind of dating scenarios, and feels a lot like The Bachelor, but kind of better. One of the things I did like about this versus some other bride trial stories is Tem is still going about her life. She works on a chicken farm with her mother. They're very poor, and she still has to tend the farm and sell the eggs and do the things that she did in her time before the trials or whatever they're called started. Caspin falls first. If you're a he falls first, Caspin falls first. And then there's just a lot of drama. Tem is 20. But there were moments when I just wanted to, smack her upside the head. You're taking everything so personally. You go from 0 to 60 in 0.25 seconds. Can you take a breath? Can you listen to the people who are talking to you? Do I agree that the men folks aren't great? Caspin definitely keeps things from her that he shouldn't in order to protect her, but her reaction to it is just so extreme. Because of the magical nature of this story, there are some things that happen that are just not physically possible, and the cultural difference between humans and basilisks allow for some very interesting sexual scenarios to come up as well. Is it bad? No, the story isn't bad. There is a lot of spice. There's nothing wrong with the spice of the spice, but I don't feel like it needed to be 750 pages. It took forever. And the drama of the greater story, not just Tem's dramatic reactions, when we got to the actual culmination of it, was resolved so quickly. That's the way you're going to play it? Oh, finally realized we're 700 pages into this. Maybe I should end this story quickly. Kind of a cop-out? No, if I'm looking at this as this is supposed to be a compelling story, no. If this is a vehicle for spice, you succeeded. You could have cut some of the scenes out. Even though it's so much spice, it's completely vanilla spice. Yeah, there's a basilisk. It's not kinky. It's just vanilla. And there's a lot of it. It's like if you took Icebreaker and just more sex, not different kind of sex, just more sex all over. That was it. It's just a lot of it.